What's up? We're going to have a special guest today in Ryan Shazier, former first-round draft pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, two-time All-Pro linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, standout at The Ohio State University, author of The Walking Miracle, an unbelievable father, an unbelievable friend, and a great husband in Mr. Ryan Shazier. So get excited, strap it up, and we're ready to spend some time with you today.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day. We got Ryan Shazier in the house, and we're going to talk a little bit of business today. And so, Ryan, no stranger to the studio over here. Thanks for joining us, my brother.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to be here.
So we're wrapping up year one in the business over here, starting to transition into a different role with the agency as a partner in the agency over here. Tell us about your first year here with the agency and how that went and what you got for us coming into the new role.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first year was a big learning curve for me. It was a big lesson for me, and the reason I say that is because just understanding the business, just diving deep, understanding building a team, understanding how to lead people in a different way, just understanding the business as a whole, you know. So I was really excited about it. One thing I am happy about is I did make good money in it. I was able to help grow a team, and I had a lot of solid people around me that really taught me the business really well. So I think any business that you get into, you have to really understand the dynamics, understand the situation of the business to be able to succeed in it. And I feel that the people that you put around me, the team that I was with, they really allowed me to grow. They really allowed me to have a good time, but they also allowed me to just understand how to transition, understand how to tell people why they should get into this business. You know, it's really easy to advocate for something if you don't really know much about it, but it's a lot better, and it's people trust you a lot more when they understand that you know the backbones of it and you know everything that you're selling. So I really enjoyed my time. It definitely took me some time to learn what I was doing, but I'm excited about my new role, you know, being partnering up with you in the agency, being able to just help everybody in the agency out and just letting them know that I'm adding value. I'm here to help. I'm here to help this thing grow to as big as we can get.
One of the things I'm most excited about, man, as you transition into the new role and partnership in the agency is your ability to mentor young people that are transitioning out of sports. Mm-hmm. You know, I think people that had an athletic background, no matter what the athletic background was, seem to, not always, but seem to be some of the ones that do the best, you know, here. So, you know, I think when you look at what are some of the reasons on that, I can give you a laundry list of some of the reasons I think that athletes, you know, do the best. But from your standpoint, you know, I've been here for 17 years, somebody that's, you know, been in the game for a year, going on 2 years now. Why do you think that athletes do so well in our business?
So the one reason I feel athletes do so well in this business, and it's the same thing when it comes to, you know, servicemen and everything when it comes like that, is just the understanding of hard work, the understanding of teamwork, and the understanding of, hey, you get in what you put in. It's rarely an athlete that doesn't work hard that becomes the best or get what they want. It's rarely, and the people that are like that, they end up burning out or they don't end up lasting as long. And that's not the guys that we want. We want the guys that understand, hey, you know, I worked my tail off. I got everything I wanted. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the league. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to, you know, D1, D2. But, man, I know how to work hard. I know how to build a team. I know how to, you know, enjoy my teammates. And that's the reason I think that it works here, because this is not a 9 to 5, and football is not a 9 to 5. If you want to get it, you got to get up early. You gotta do all the necessary things that most people aren't willing to do. Like in football, I have to run into another human being. I can go outside right now, and if I do that to somebody, they'll call it assault, or somebody would say, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" They think you are crazy if you just go out there and tackle random people. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to sales and it comes to insurance. It's like, hey, man, like to call people that you don't know and just understanding and teaching them the value of how this can change their lives, change their family lives.
No doubt.
You know, it's like football, it's like basketball, it's like track. You know, most people aren't trying to go out there and run all day, but you understand, man, if I run all day, it's teaching me discipline, it's teaching me hard work, and it's showing me, hey, there's something bigger in life. And I think that, to me, I think that's why athletes transition well into this business, because they just really just go back on the roots that they had in sports when it came to just.
They know how you put in the work.
You put in the work.
That's how you get the
The
results.
results.
Speaking of which, you know, because you're no stranger to the GRINDcast, we had them put something out to the Instagram followers to ask us any questions or ask you any questions, and I was going to go through a couple of those questions. And one of the questions was, why get into a commission-based industry? Why did you get into a commission-based industry?
The reason I got into this industry, honestly, is because one thing I really love about this is you get in what you put in. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with 9-to-5s. You know, some people like working 9-to-5s, but to me, I like to say Devontae Adams. I like to say, you know, Patrick Mahomes. I like to say, you know, even I'm gonna use somebody that's not the best of the best. I'm gonna use, you know, Joe Mixon. He's a great running back. You know, he's not the best in the league, but he's a great running back. And what I would like to say is, when you put in the work, you get the results, and you get paid for the results that you do. And to me, Devontae Adams, every catch he make, every touchdown he scored, every reception he make, you see him on more and more commercials. You see him on more and more opportunities, and that provide more income into his pockets, into his family pockets. And that's kind of how I see the insurance industry. That's how I see
another reason why I think athletes
do well.
Yeah. Because, you know, I couldn't even imagine coming up, playing college ball, going through all the work, and someone saying, you know what, we're going to just split your time no matter how good you do this year. You're going to play 2 series, the other person's going to play 2 series. You got no chance of beating those people out no matter what happens.
That's basically a 9-to-5. Imagine you watch the Chiefs or the Steelers, and it's like, all right, every 2 plays TJ in, and then every 2 plays his backup in. His backup might love it, but then TJ going like, yo, what are we doing? Like, why am I not playing? And then the fans going to be asking the same thing. Why is TJ not playing? So to me, I think the better somebody is, the more work they put in, the more opportunity they get. And then
commissions for the people that are willing to bet on themselves.
100%.
Saying that I know I'm willing to do the work.
I'm willing to grind.
I'm willing to grind. I'm coachable. I want to come in instead of someone telling me I'm going to make 30 grand or 40 grand. I want to go make 300 grand.
Yeah.
I want to go make 500 grand. Today we were announcing, you know, some of the income report today, and we had, you know, Joey was on there and made 18,000 this week.
It's crazy.
24 years old, been in here less than 2 years.
18,000.
18,000. He'll probably make $1 million, you know, plus this upcoming week. So if he wasn't in a commission-based business, he wouldn't be making no money like that. So that's the opportunity. If another question they had is, if you had to start all over, you know, in the industry from what you've learned in the last year, what skill sets or what things would you work on to make sure you were successful in the business?
So one thing that I will work on, and I feel like I have a natural, I'm naturally gifted at this, but I will continue to work on this, is just the ability to be able to talk to people. And what I mean by that is, everybody has a skill set. Everybody has a skill set. It just depends on if you know how to use it or you don't know how to use it. And what I mean by that is, because in this industry, you're talking to so many different people. And you have to understand that some people, they're in a good mood, some people in a bad mood, some people might have had the worst day of their life and you just gave them a call. Some people might have the best day of their life and you give them a call. And to me, I think if you understand how to read people, understand how to talk to people, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to understand how to approach people. But I think that's one skill that you have to continue to work on and that you can continue to get better at. And the one thing I would like to say, that there are people that are just gifted at talking to people, but you still have to understand the sales side of things. And, you know, you could say whatever the person wants to hear, but once it comes to selling them and telling them about the benefits that you can provide to them, and if you don't know the business, then you SOL.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think, you know, working on talking, but then also understanding what you're talking about. Because there's a lot of people that just gifted. There's a lot of guys that's first rounders, but if you're not gonna put in that work, you only last for so long. And that's why I love this business, because the people that work the hardest, the people that continue to put in the work, you see the results.
So putting the work in, developing your sales skill set so you can sell, and then putting the work in, getting comfortable talking to people.
Yeah.
So you could just get comfortable talking to people.
Yeah, just like talking to random people, talking to your friends, your family, because a lot of people are very comfortable talking to their families. A lot of people are comfortable talking to their friends. But if you just go out and talk to a random person walking on the street, if you can get a random person to have a conversation with you, that means you're working every single day to get better at a craft. Because most random people, they're not going to stop in the middle of what they're doing to talk to a random person as well, because they're uncomfortable about it.
No doubt.
So if you can continue to work on that skill set, then that's something that can help you progress in this business for sure, if you know what you're talking about.
You know, recently we just had the tragic situation on the field with DeMar Hamlin that went, the whole country knows about it. Just so happens to be he's from our area here in Pittsburgh. He actually was one of the people that took the kids from Steel City on a tour when we went down to Pitt campus and visited the football locker room and all that stuff. Our kids in Steel City are from Stowe Rocks. He's right down in that McKees Rocks area is where he's from, and he played at Pitt. And so the whole nation saw, what was going on. Thank God. Looks like he's doing a lot better. But seeing his recent adversity, I'm sure you can relate, as an athlete. What advice would you have for that young man during his recovery? And have you reached out to him at all?
So I reached out to his PR person. I don't really have his information directly. And I was like, hey, if you need anything, if you need my support, I wrote him on social as well. Or you want to talk about anything, I'm here for you. If you need anything, that's about as much as I did. I also, been praying for him. But the one thing I would talk to him about is just say, hey, one thing, just trust God. No matter what, God is always going to get us through everything. And then another thing is just, take your time and understand and know your body. Your body will let you know when you can't do things. So just continue to work hard, trust your body, and trust God, because it will be days I'll be doing rehab and I don't want to do it, but my body was like, hey, you can keep going. And it's kind of like when you should work out. In your head, it's like, oh, man, I should work out, I shouldn't work out. And when you asking that question, you should work out. But if you've been working out every single day and you have that burning sensation, you're like, oh, man, like my body is dead today. I need to take a rest. That's what you need to take a rest in. So to me, with him, I know he's rehabbing. I know he's taking his time. But the one thing I would just say, hey, don't rush it, and you just trust God, because at the end of the day,
seems like you both have that in common. To see some of his posts and what he's put up, it seems like he has a strong faith in the Lord. And I know that was something that carried you through.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. I want to first of all say thank you to everybody that prayed for me, that wished the best for me. But secondly, to me, just God is everything. And, some people get away from him. Some people don't believe in him. And one thing I would just have to say is just, always try to fight to continue to build that relationship with God, because I always understand the further I am away from him, the cloudier my mind is, and I think about things I shouldn't be thinking about, or doing things I shouldn't be doing, or I'm making mistakes that I know that easily are mistakes I wouldn't make. So I would just say always, trust God and just keep God close, and he can get you through anything.
Love it. Great advice. More questions from the Instagram folks that reached out. One of the questions somebody had was, if you're putting in the work and you're doing everything that you need to do, but you see other people not putting in the same type of work on your team, not putting in the same commitment, not putting in the same activity as the rest of the squad, what would you say to somebody that's in that situation? They're out working people. They see themselves as a part of a team, but they see people on the team that's not necessarily putting in that type of work.
So it's multiple ways of leadership, and one way is leading by example. If that person isn't following your example, then there's another way of leading people is by not criticism, but not corrective action, but
constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism. By basically saying, hey, Johnny, you need to do it this way. Hey, Johnny, you should try it this way. I understand, Johnny, this is working for you, but if you're trying to keep it with the team, do it this way. And then you have to have that hard conversation with him sometimes. You just say, hey, Simon, today, I'm just going to have to be completely honest with you. I don't know if you're going to be a fit for us right here today. And I'm not saying fire them, but just let them make the decision. Yeah. Hey, you might not be a fit for us because the path that we're trying to go on, this is what we're trying to do. And I don't see you working at a level of where we're trying to be at. So to me, I don't know if you're going to be the right fit for this company. And then most times people are going to think, are you firing me or are you letting me go? It's like, no. All I'm saying is I don't think you're a fit because for you to be prepared, like fit for this company.
For you to keep up,
you're going to have to change.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're willing to change. So basically, you're going to have to talk to them. Are you willing to change? Yep. Are you willing to make the sacrifice to work?
There's a book, old book, John Maxwell, 360-degree leader. Because I don't know what perspective this person is asking. As the coach, what do you say? I think that's a good conversation as the coach, as the leader of that. Here's the expectations of the culture. Here's what we're going. Here's what it's going to take, and you're not putting in that work. So we got to have that conversation if this is going to be a fit for you. The other one is if your peers. We're on the same team.
All right, so if your peers.
I'm putting in the work. I see my teammate not putting in the work.
So if your peers, I feel like you should just go to them and say, hey, Josh, I understand right now that you feel like you're working real hard, but I just want to really ask you, like, what is your goals? Like, what are your plans? Because at the end of the day, I need to know your plans because this is where the team is trying to get. And I need to know your goals because I'm going to start holding you accountable to your goals because if this is how you're going to work, I just need to know. I need to talk to our leader because me personally, I think we need to go in another direction. You just have to hold them accountable. And just basically say, hey.
Speak up a little bit.
Yeah, speak up a little bit. And just
get on the same page with them. Tell them, we care about you.
Yeah.
What are your goals?
And I always
feel.
We got to
align your actions with them goals.
I always feel it's better, too, is to go to the person. Don't talk behind people behind their
directly.
Back. Go directly to the person and say, hey, Simon, be honest, you my boy, but you got to pick this up. I need you to pick this up because right now, this is not where I think we should be out as a team. And this is as a brother. Me and you are doing the same thing right now. And I don't feel that, you are giving us the best you have. And then another thing that, is really important is most of the time when you let somebody get by with the actions, it actually hurts the team more than keeping the guy around hurts the team more than actually the leader keeping the guy around hurts the team more than actually the guy himself. So if the leader is like, hey man, he's Johnny, he's all right, let him, he's gonna figure things out. Joey over here is seeing Johnny is like, yo, he's slacking. Like, what's going on? At the end of the day, they're going to look at the leader and it's like, you need to step up. And as a leader, if you don't step up and make a decision, then your team is going to look at you in a different...
Start losing respect. For you a little bit.
Losing respect for you. So you're going to have to make a decision, and I don't know which...
Speaking of losing respect, hopefully nobody loses any respect, but one of the folks on Instagram want to have some fun with you. Looks like they wanted to ask you, what was the worst trouble you got into as a kid?
All right, so worst trouble I got into as a kid. I have kind of two situations. So one situation, and this like my father's a pastor, my mother is a stay-at-home mom, and they raised me well. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm truly blessed about it. So one situation, I went to Walmart with my cousin, and we used to play like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or something like that, and he had gave me some Pokemon cards, and he was like, hey. Your mom bought these. But my mom always told me before, don't ever leave the store without a bag. My mom always told me that when I was a little kid. She's like, I don't ever want you leaving the store unless you have a bag, a bag from the store. Because, you went through the register with the bag, and then they give you a bag. You just can't, you just can't walk around and take a bag. So you pretty much got your receipt, you left. He was like, yo, your mom bought these. So we're just walking around, and he gave me them, and he's like, all right, just put them in your pocket and walk out, basically.
Your friend?
It was my cousin.
Oh, your cousin, he set you up?
He kind of set me up. But it was I was being kind of naive, too. It was I forgot how old I was. I was around 9 or 10. And he
stole some Pokemon cards
he
out of
stole
Walmart.
but
man.
they end up.
Is it too late to turn you in?
Yeah, no, they caught us.
They caught you. How they catch you?
It was on camera. Like
And then what? They run you down? Did you
so
run?
like we was walking.
Were you
No,
fast back then?
I didn't even have to run. We was walking to the car and they just put up on us and like, hey, ma'am, I think your kid stole some Pokemon cards. I'm like, I ain't steal these. You bought these. And my mom was like, I ain't buy those. And then I was like, then my cousin looked at me and I was like, all right, well, we screwed. So basically, we had got in trouble. And we got a whooping. So then the next thing was...
you got a whooping. What kind of whooping you get, dog?
Oh, yeah. Now, my dad was pissed.
Hands, switch, stick, what you get?
No, my dad, when he used to whoop us, we used to lay on the bed and he would have a belt.
Oh, the belt. How did I forget about the belt?
Yeah, so it was... Yeah, my dad didn't we're not running around the house or nothing like that. We was getting the belt. So, and this is not child abuse, and they... Back in the day, kids used to get whoopings.
No doubt, absolutely.
Nowadays, I don't know what's going on. I know I'm not whooping my kids. Right, I'm not whooping my kids. So they get in trouble though. So then the next thing I would have to say is I
might whoop my son Simon. He better watch.
And
so
yeah. So with my other one. Man, we used to live in Texas and I was hanging out with this kid and he was like, hey man, come over here. We had rolled up some leaves and then tried to smoke it. Leaves, like grass. And then try to smoke it. We got caught and my parents had to police come over and act like they was gonna arrest us for smoking grass. So basically my parents was like, right.
Grass used to be the term for weed.
No, but it was
old school grass, but this was legit grass.
Legit grass.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
I ain't never done that.
No, I was.
Who were you with for that?
It was a kid in the neighborhood. I was probably between 9 and 12.
9, you was tearing it up. 9, you started getting a little rebellious. Sounds like 9, you was stealing Pokemon cards.
Yeah, so I was
smoking grass.
Yeah, so and then my parents had the police come to the house, and they was acting like they was gonna arrest us, and then my parents was just basically and they was don't do drugs and this and that, and so I kind of got that's probably the two biggest.
That ain't too bad.
That ain't too bad.
That ain't too bad.
That ain't too I ain't do nothing. When I was a kid, I was I'm really I try to stay out of trouble. My oldest son, my oldest son is more like that. He's I'm not trying to get in no trouble. So I just try not to. I tried my best not to get in trouble. And then my dad, once I got older, he was just everybody's life is a garbage bag, and he was the more baggage you add to your bag, the less people want to deal with you. And he was so the heavier your bag get, the less people want to deal with you. And I was and he was and then once you have a real heavy bag, people are only going to deal with you until they have to. So, and I always say like this, if I have a light garbage day, my wife will take her trash out. But if it's a bunch of junk in there and it's spilling and it's heavy and all that, I got to take it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how people's life is. If it's a bunch of mess and a bunch of garbage you're dealing with and your life is all in shambles, most people ain't trying to deal with you. But if you cross all the boxes and everybody's oh man, he's a perfect dude. He's great. Some people gonna look at you funny, but in the day, everybody else gonna be man, that's a solid dude right there.
Right.
And that's the person I try to
You're always gonna have some haters.
Yeah, everybody
gonna have somebody that got something negative to say about you.
100%.
Yep. And that's probably been a lesson for you over time too. That wasn't necessarily a question. How have you learned to deal with comments on social media or anything at any time of anybody to say anything negative about you?
I feel my whole life is I've always been in the not public eye, but I kind of been in the public eye because me having alopecia at 5 years old, random people see a bald head kid, they think I have cancer, they think I have something that most people are not used to seeing. So most people when they look at me, they're oh, look at that kid, there's something wrong with him, da 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 da. When I was growing up. So then, as I got older, when people start asking me questions, I just didn't care anymore.
You were already immune to it.
I was immune to it. I care. If you say, "Oh, Ryan, you're bald, you're ugly," it's I don't want to be ugly. I'm gonna say I'm not ugly. You know what I'm saying? Or, "Oh, Ryan, you suck." I'm all right. I'm gonna prove you wrong. But to actually oh man, I can't believe Joe Blow said, Ryan's such a bad dude. I don't care. It just, at the end of the day, it really don't, what you say to me don't really matter. It matters to my wife a little bit more. It matters to other people a little bit more. But, a person that I don't know, if you say something to me, like, why should that matter to me? You know, like,
No doubt.
like if you have like, if you're saying something about me on Good Morning America, that's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, now the whole world seeing it. It's like now they have to proceed. They have to address it.
Yeah.
You know, but when it's just more on like a random person seeing me or how they view
Comment
me.
on your Facebook or something like that on a
Like I used to, it was a point in my life I had so many comments I didn't even look at them, and it's not as a good or bad thing. I just didn't look at them because at the end of the day it was like, if you say something good about me, I appreciate it. If you say something bad about me, I don't care. So I'm just not gonna look at all this stuff. So
No doubt. No doubt. One of the questions they had was there a turning point in your career? If so, what was that turning point? Like a definite moment where it clicked for you? And I would probably say more so on the football field and maybe even in the industry because you're still learning. But I know there had to be some point where it kind of clicked a little bit here too. But anything on or off the field?
So I would say in football, my turning moment was my second to third year. So Michelle, my wife, me and her started like talking and dating then, and then she ended up moving to Pittsburgh. And when she moved to Pittsburgh, it kind of like when she moved, my best friend moved here too, and he was my trainer. And it kind of clicked for me because I started actually going to work out and like rehab and pay attention to my body and all that stuff a little bit more than I used to. And so like before I used to work out in the afternoons and I didn't really work out as consistent. Even when I worked out with the Steelers facility, I'll work out, but I wasn't working out for real. I wasn't really working as hard as I should. I was watching film and stuff like that, but like when it came to just like working out. So then my trainer was like, hey Ryan, let's try to work out in the morning just to get out of the way. So then we ended up start working out at like, we had to be at the facility at 9 or 8 or 9 at 9. Our meeting started at 9. So I was like, he was like, hey, let's work out at like 7:30. So I was like, all right, cool. The where I worked out wasn't far, so I was like, all right, cool. So I'll be done around like 8:30. Then I get to the facility like 8:45. You know, or I would get to the facility like 8:30, 8:45. So then I was like, dang, it's kind of rushing it. So then he was like, all right, let's work out at 6:30. So I work out at 6:30. Then I'll get to the facility and I'll be there like an hour before I'm meeting. And then I was spending time with like one of my former teammates, and I was like, hey man, can you put on like run plays? Because he was a safety. And he was like, if you get in here before me, I'll put on run plays. So I was like, all right, bet. So then I was like, hey, Jerome, we got to start working out earlier because Mike's being an asshole. It wasn't like he was being like an asshole. It was just more like he was just like, if you want to watch what you want to watch, get here before me. You know what I'm saying? It's like the TV. If you want to watch TV, what you want to watch on TV, if you get to TV before me, you can watch what you want. So then I was like, all right, cool. So we started working out at 6, I think, or 6:30 or something like that. And then I was in there for like an hour before him. And then he was like, all right, he's like, all right, I see you. And then, but I would get there like 30 minutes before him. But then when I was there with him, we'll watch film, but it would be like a lot of people in there, we'll be talking. So it would be like a lot of time I'll be noticing that I'm talking and watching film. So I wasn't able just to get like time to myself.
Film room down.
Yeah, like, so we're still watching it, but you're like joking around and like, but you still got a lot of film in. So I was just like, hey, Jerome, let's start going earlier so I can actually like get in like an hour at least by myself.
Before anybody even gets in.
Yeah, like an hour or two by myself. So he's like, all right, bet. He's like, you're going to have to get up early, bro. So he was like, all right. So we start waking up at 4:05, working out at
4:05?
4:05, work out 4:45. I get to the facility at 5:45 a.m. Then I will work out then I'll be there from 6 to 9. Like, so our meeting started at 9. So I'll get there at 6. I'll watch like an hour and 30 minutes, and then like the first person will start rolling in and like at like 7:30, and then it's like 8, and then 9. But it's like I already got an hour and 30 minutes in every single day by myself watching film.
So you was watching film.
So then
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours before every day before everybody got in. So then my third year, I just started making hella plays, and I'm like, and it was just like I would see stuff on the field. I was like, oh, they're not about to do this. And then it's like, boom. I'm like, oh, it's like it started clicking. I was like, all right. I was like, I gotta just start doing this consistently. And then my fourth year I did it, and I was probably in the running for like the defensive player of the year. I had the Pro Bowl, and then
did you make the Pro Bowl the last 2 years, third and fourth year?
Yeah, the third and fourth year, and then and then I ended up getting hurt. But like, I was like, man, that really changed my career in the insurance industry. What really changed it for me was, it was kind of crazy. We had a month. It was going up and down. You know, I'll make it a little bit here, make a little bit there. Then we had a month, and I think it was like, I forgot if it was February. I forgot what month it was, but it was, Braden and Evan, and the team was just doing super, super well. And I ended up making like 45 G's in a month. And I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, that's crazy. You know, like, because at first I was like making a decent amount, but we made like 45 G's in a month. And I was like, man, that's solid. So then I just really just thought about like, man, let me see if I can bring more guys in here and more people in here and just figure out ways to just keep growing the industry, because the team, because I was like, if we can continue to, if I made 45, some of the guys on my team made just as that or more. And I was like, man, if I can continue to bless other people like this, man, this is going to be awesome.
Amen.
Yeah. So
what do you think about the young people in our business that have had the success that you've seen them have, that was on your team before we made the transition? What sticks out to you about some of those young cats? Like, if somebody's listening, they're like, man, what would I have to do to come in and have that level of success, you know, where you've seen young people, you know, young being 20, 22.
So the biggest thing that a lot of people see is like on social media, you look at something, and most people like they post stuff, but they're not actually about it. You know, like dudes be like, oh, I'm working out, you know, or I'm in here, I'm grinding every day. You know what I'm saying? And when I was playing football, like dudes would be posting summer drills, and it's like they'll do the drill for 10 minutes and then like they chill for the rest of the time. Like these dudes, if they posting 12 p.m., leaving here at 11 p.m., they really do that. Like they actually here all day. Like they actually, and the thing is, they actually going to dinner together. They actually trying to help each other grow. We was reading books together. Like the personal and self-development here is on another level compared to where a lot of other people are in life. And that's one thing that I really respect about these guys, these 20-year-olds, these 19-year-olds, 24-year-olds, is because
Personal development.
Their personal development is through the roof, and it's allowing them to understand the sacrifice they got to make now, and it's going to help them when they're 30, 40, 50 years old, and their kids too.
No doubt. I think that's one of the best things I love seeing about the young folks in our culture. What they've adopted that I've tried to preach for so long is the self-development. That's what I think people get. You know, I tell people that transition into this out of high school or out of college, I'm like, look, if this ain't what you end up doing for the rest of your life, if this ain't what you retire doing, and you're here for a year, you will get better.
Yeah,
you're going to
100%.
learn how to talk to people better. Your sales development is going to be better, your sales skill set, but your internal personal development is going to get developed
100%.
mentally, physically, spiritually, all those things that if you did move on and do something else, all those things, that experience is going to be something that would also carry those people.
100%.
I feel. When one of the questions they ask is when you went through your injury, if you ever got down and depressed after realizing that you wasn't going to be able to play ball, and how did you cope with that mentally? As a friend, you know, I know that this is something that you've overcome, but I know it still creeps up, you know, every now and then. So how would you coach somebody through?
So I would definitely say I was depressed in moments. I'll have times where I'll be sad. You know, I didn't ask like why me that much, but I would, you know, I would be like, man, I wish I could still play. Man, I wish I still had the opportunity, because at the end of the day, I love football. Like I love it to this day, and I loved it a lot when I played. That's all I like. I know football longer than I know my wife. You know, the only people I know longer than football is my mom, my dad, my sister. I mean, my mom, my dad, my brother, my grandparents, and you know, some of my cousins. I know them just as long, but it's like, you know, we see each other here and there, but it's really football. You know, so like that was almost like every day I did something that involved football in my life, pretty much from like 10 to 25. You know, so I think most people would get depressed if that happened to them. But I think one way I coped with it was I would just constantly lean on my friends. I'll talk to my family. I'll trust in God. And another way I cope with it is I like, video games. I like going to sporting events. I like spending time with my wife, watching movies. And then I had read a few books that helped me just understand, sometimes things happen to you. It doesn't mean that it's the end. It doesn't mean that your life is over. It doesn't mean that everything is done. It's just an obstacle in your way. And a lot of times people will let that obstacle change them into a person for the worse. And you have to understand it's just an obstacle and let that obstacle change you for the better.
Amen.
So that's one thing that kind of helped me.
Speaking of books, we got Walking Miracle back here. Also for those of you that are looking for a good book to throw into your arsenal, Walking Miracle by Ryan Shazier also would be another great book. To wrap it up, what would you say to somebody out there? I hate to only single out the young folks, but a lot of the young folks right now that are transitioning out of high school or out of college, somebody looking for an internship or they want to come here and they're nervous about it. What would you say to them? Explain the culture and how would you encourage those people to come on aboard?
The one thing I'll definitely say is that most people just have to understand, put your pride aside. A lot of times people are like, man, I can't do that. I ain't about to be calling all these people. I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for that. But then they'll go to McDonald's and work there and be like, man, I hate my job. So to me, I'll say put your pride aside and just understand that the opportunity here is unlimited. So there's people here that make, $5K a week. Some people here make $2K a week, and some people here make $50K a week. People is millionaires here. And the thing is that I would tell people when it comes to transitioning is if you just willing to sacrifice, time now for where you want to be later in your life.
Amen.
This is the spot for you. It's a lot of people that want everything now and not willing to sacrifice. And if you ain't have no job right now, if you don't have a plan right now, if you have no goals right now, like you're not going to go anywhere. And to me, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to understand where you can continue to get better. You can get an internship. You can understand the business, make money while you're interning, and then also be like, oh, snap, I can do this for 10 years and then have residuals for the rest of my life and my family's life and be set. And you come in here at 19, be done at 29, and then boom, your family good for the rest of their life, and you can go back and do what you want to do.
No doubt.
To me, I think
we've had people in college their last year or two. I mean, they had crazy work ethics, but we had people in college actually out of our Columbus office with my friend Pat Bendour, who you met. We had guys in there get an MGA contract, one of the higher levels of leadership you can get here while he was still going to college.
Yeah.
Imagine coming out of college with that contract and that situation because you already set yourself up for the last year or two.
And the last thing I like to tell people about transition is like you don't have to transition by yourself. Because most guys coming out of high school, most guys coming out of college, somebody else that's doing the same thing. And somebody else you're like, hey, what you about to do after this? Well, I don't know. I might go to CCAC. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking I might get a summer job, but I don't know what I want to do. Man, you just finished playing football. Man, I'm not going to make it to the league. I don't know what I want to do. Man, 3 more or 4 more people like that with you. Just say, hey, man, I think this is a cool opportunity over here. We can make some good money.
Let's work out together.
Let's work out together.
Let's run it up together.
Hold each other accountable. And then, boom, now you and your homies all making bread. So I think it's a lot of opportunities
Amen.
In this. And I think a lot of times people see like, oh, man, I don't want to try that. I'm scared. And, the last thing is if you just really look into it, like we're backed by Globe Life and huge companies and just let you know that's been around for 100 years. So, like, for the people that's around you that's trying to scare you off, just understand that this is something that you can really trust.
No doubt. Yeah. Globe, I was looking for a team to root for in the playoffs, and, Globe is the official life insurance company of the Dallas Cowboys, Globe Life Park, naming rights to the Texas Rangers Stadium. Globe's been around for 100 years. Globe has more policyholders than any other insurance company in the United States. No other company has more policyholders than Globe Life over the last 100 years, man. So for those, if you know somebody that's looking for an opportunity, we don't do this all the time, but if you know somebody that's looking for an opportunity, this is going to be a special year, 2023. We wouldn't be partnering up with Ryan. We wouldn't be doing the things that we're doing right now if it wasn't going to be a special year. We've had consistent growth, but nothing's going to be like 2023. And if you want to get personal developed, if you want to get developed personally, mentally, physically, spiritually, you want to get your bank account up a little bit, somebody that needs some experience, looks for a good culture, send them our way. We're ready to make an impact. So thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.